Originally I was just going to make a video and stick it out, but I've decided to make this one into a hangout, and hopefully you watch all the videos, and I just thought they were little gems. The last one, I'm not quite sure if that's what they're doing, but a lot of what he says is probably right. It's just that he thinks that aliens are coming. That's the last video. Or no, sorry, the aliens are here. But I just found some of these videos fascinating, and I'm just so glad there are people who think. I love people who can think. And thank you very much to every single one of these videos and the creators. This is not my stuff, this is other people's stuff, but they were such brilliant videos, and most of them are on TikTok. Anyway, let's have a hangout. Hello everybody, making a video today with lots of little videos that aren't mine. Most of them have come off TikTok, but once I saw them I thought, oh yes, another one, oh another one. But look at that vision sign on there. That is the story of our lives, isn't it? That is it in a nutshell. But anyway, without an ado, we'll put on number 1. Just look at that. That's Shepu, my lovely Shepu. Crazy. This video is number 2.
This is the construction of the Brooklyn Bridge in 1881. This is Grand Central Station in 1900. Here is the construction of Fenway Park in Boston in 1914. Here's Boston in the year 1900. Here's Detroit in 1888. And all of this amazing infrastructure was built before there was a federal income tax, which didn't exist the first 137 years America was a country. So how did the government raise money before 1913? Tariffs. We taxed goods that came in from other countries. So if China wanted to sell to American markets, they had to pay for American roads. But in 1913, a small group of powerful bankers sold Americans on the Federal Reserve Bank and the 16th Amendment. Now they didn't need tariffs because they could tax you. So they started selling Americans on free trade, which is extremely profitable for international banks and corporations. And they told us that the costs of goods and services will go down. They left out that the Fed's endless printing of money would destroy the value of your dollar, and that free trade would destroy American manufacturing and cost you your jobs. And this is why I write books on the corruption of the money system, the food system, how information is controlled, the trap of free, and so much more. Because if we want to give the next generation a fighting chance, we have to teach them the truth. ClassicalLearner.com.
The next one is number 3, and I just so like it when people make you think. The next one is number 4.
Interesting study on rats that I want to tell you. And there's 3 groups of rats. And in the first group, they fed lard and alcohol to these rats. Okay, lard is pig fat. Second group, they fed beef fat, it's called tallow, and alcohol to these rats. And then in the third group, they fed them corn oil and alcohol. Now, what's interesting is the first group, the lard and the alcohol, had minimal damage to the livers. And then this test, they were testing for like liver damage and then the development into a fatty liver because there was alcohol involved. I kind of wish they would have added one more group with this test, like a group of mice that only consumed alcohol, just to see what would happen. But anyway, the first group that had pig fat, lard, and alcohol, they had minimal damage to the liver. The next group with the tallow, beef fat, and alcohol, they had virtually no damage to the liver. What does that mean? That means that beef fat could potentially be protective to the liver. That's one idea. That's interesting. It's actually fascinating, especially since I consume a lot of beef fat in my diet, and I don't seem to have a lot of liver problems anymore. But then the third group of rats that were fed corn oil and alcohol, guess what happened to them? Not good. Severe liver damage. It's the most damage of all three groups. The worst food or ingredient, we'll call it, for a fatty liver or a liver in general.
Number 5. I think we live in an open-air boot camp.
Yo, listen to this.
We are living in a villain's world, and they designed it perfectly. We eat the food they give us,
Poison.
vote for one of 2 people that they tell us to, and watch the movies that they show. They take our attention as soon as we reach age 5, and they never give it back. We go to school for 8 hours a day learning what they want us to. They scold us until we obey, and then they praise us when we do. They make us form a habit of waking up and spending our entire day in a building that we wouldn't choose, so that when we get older, we are willing to do the same. Following orders becomes comfortable when we spend our childhood doing what we're told. So when we're older, we hesitate to stray outside the norm. They tell us that we should do anything we can to attend a university, because if we don't, we will fail. They manipulate us into financial dependency at a young age so that we stay liable to the system. They've given us a currency that only has value because they say it does, and we receive it by working at a business that they own. Their millions become billions while the rest of us are forced to sacrifice our time for a minuscule fraction of what our work gains for them.
Wake up to reality.
This guy here is saying a pyramid in Bosnia is much, much older than the Giza pyramids. We'll never really know how old things actually are, because I've got another little video in here saying that, you know, things are fossils and that it can happen a lot quicker. Yeah, it can happen a lot quicker. But anyway, this is number 6.
Hey, the real Pharaoh's curse is that we haven't built a pyramid bigger than Giza yet. I mean, just look at it. This thing is massive and it's over 4,000 years old. Oh, but we do have a pyramid bigger than that and nobody's talking about it. The Great Pyramid of Giza is peanuts against the buried Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, and you will not believe what they found there. In 2005, archaeologist Dr. Samir Osmanagic realized, hey, this hill in the small Bosnian city of Visoko is oddly shaped like a pyramid. And shaped like a pyramid was an understatement. This hill has virtually every characteristic of a real pyramid, and we continue to ignore it. To start, it has 4 triangular sides. That's it, pyramid confirmed, we're done. Joking, but it's got even grade slopes and corners that connect perfectly under the foliage, along with an apex at the very top, the exact shape of a pyramid, but oh, it don't end there, Johnny boy. It's also perfectly aligned to the cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west, much like Giza. In fact, this one is even more aligned to true north than Giza, being only 1/300th of a degree off from perfect north, whereas Giza is 2/60ths of a degree off. They even took EMF, electromagnetic frequency readers, to the top and saw readings of 60 times more of what is normally expected on Earth. Another phenomenon that tends to occur at the pyramids, and the reason why is so mind-baffling that we'll have to save that for a future video. This hill was aptly named the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, the first pyramid of its kind in Europe, taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza and even bigger than the biggest pyramid of the world, Cholula in Mexico, with 4 other smaller hills around it that are also suspected to be pyramids or some other structures, as is usually the case at these ancient sites. Sure, it might just look like a hill covered in trees, but have a look at what the Pyramid of the Sun in Teotihuacan, Mexico looked like before it was excavated and after. Same with Machu Picchu, and after, and Chichen Itza, and after. Any ancient site that isn't in a desert is typically covered with overgrowth, and the Bosnian pyramid is looking a lot like that before stage. And just have a look at these drone shots and tell me these formations look natural to you. So Dr. Osmanagic began the excavations, and now get this, radiocarbon analysis taken from the rocks hidden beneath the vegetation revealed that this pyramid would be over 35,000 years old, the oldest pyramid in the world by a long shot, over 30,000 years older than Giza, during a time in which traditional history claims only tribes and cavemen incapable of erecting such monuments roamed the earth, far before any civilizations began to form, or so we think. For reference, here's a timeline of all major ancient civilizations and structures built around the world. And here is where the Bosnian pyramid would stand in that timeline. Excavations also revealed huge blocks of 7 tons each, stacked with geopolymer binding, which is an ancient type of cement, and perfect placement, along with perfectly landscaped terraces and other obvious architectural design, but oh no, these are all natural. Note that this was all uncovered up to a meter underground, as would be expected of a pyramid over 35,000 years old. And of course, the archaeological gatekeepers of the world insisted this is just coincidental, with some even going as far as saying Dr. Osmanagic purposely placed these carved stones here to deceive the public. And famed Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, who oversees most of the Egyptian pyramid investigations, even petitioning the Bosnian government to stop these excavations. Within hours of this international discovery, the story is swept under the rug and labeled a hoax. Well, over 50 archaeologists around the world remained optimistic and actually joined Osmanagic's work in Bosnia, with virtually every single one of them who actually saw it in person confirming that nature could not have formed these hills. Further studies revealing an entire underground tunnel system in the area, the longest subterranean complex of any pyramid in the world. Inside these tunnels, large stone blocks were found that clearly seemed to be artificially created and placed. Other artifacts like this giant round stone that no one can explain, and a whole bunch of other smaller ancient trinkets, statues, and even what appears to be a map carved into stone were all found around the Bosnian Valley of Pyramids, all dismissed as irrelevant or flat out ignored by mainstream archaeology. Even the peak of the Sun Pyramid forms a perfect triangle with the peaks of the nearby hills, dubbed the Pyramids of the Moon and the Dragon. Another crazy coincidence, right? After much pushback, the government actually did grant Osmanagic the right to continue excavations. But with no official funding, the entire project depends on donations and volunteer work. These excavations are still going on, but after tourism to Bosnia slowed down in the last couple of years, progress on these pyramids have as well. As with anything, you could probably rationalize a completely valid reason for each of these discoveries, and maybe it really is somehow just a hill. So you think we're tweaking on this one, or are we onto something? Who's ready to get digging?
Here it is. It's number 8. Fossils are not millions of years old.
This video out with me. This guy's going to explain that fossils are not millions of years old. Let's watch it.
If you grew up like I did, taught in a state-run school system, you probably have a ready answer: millions of years. I grew up learning the typical evolutionary story party line regarding rocks and fossils, that slow fossilization ideas were true, and that fossils were millions of years old. I read books with detailed and colorful diagrams showing that fossils formed mostly when animals and or plants died in watery environments. I typically use the canned example I'd seen and heard so often: a fish. According to the typical series of pictures I'd seen depicted in a wide assortment of books, a fish would die, sink to the bottom of a lake, and get slowly covered in layers of silt and mud. As millions of years would pass, the sediment got compressed as new layers gathered. The mud would turn into rock, the fish would become permineralized, and voila, it became a fossil. If I'd just taken a few seconds to think about it, I would have easily realized that what my own eyes observed is that dead fish tend to float and bloat, and the ones that were at the bottom were chewed up by crabs and little nippers quite quickly. And even the bones didn't last all that long. I realize now that I'd been taught what to think, not how to think. Most people, even Christians, still believe that it takes millions of years for rocks to form and a living organism to become a fossil. I realize now that a major reason I never doubted these ideas is that I'd never been shown an alternative for how fossils could have formed. I never heard one person in my earlier years ever mention that a giant catastrophe, especially the Great Deluge recorded in the Bible, could have buried creatures rapidly and completely and formed fossils very quickly. I realized that evolutionary researchers can't explain many things according to that long age paradigm, which is likely why they've more recently begun to embrace and incorporate catastrophic explanations into their evolutionary system. Like why they've found fossilized animals in the middle of very specific short-term activities and actions, like eating or giving birth. For example, at the Creation Museum in the United States, we have a fossil fish displayed that was swallowing another fish while they were buried. Another is the fossil of a horseshoe crab with its tracks visible in the sediment it was traveling along. This indicates that not only was it buried at lightning speed according to the common geological perspective, but that the right chemical conditions in the sediment for rapid fossilization to protect the specimen and its tracks must have been present, eliminating the need for any kind of deep time process to account for the fossilization process. And even more rapidly decaying soft-bodied animals like jellyfish have been found in Australia, Canada, Germany, the United States, and other countries. And this presents an incredible conundrum for evolutionary scientists, because jellyfish decay so rapidly they typically leave no trace whatsoever after a very short time. Now, fossils are typically embedded in rock, which means if the fossilization of an organism occurred rapidly, then the rock they are trapped in must have formed quickly as well. Most of us have been told that it takes millions of years for large portions of strata we see around the world to have formed. How would that explanation fit with the clock in the rock found in Washington, USA in 1975? So we know that rocks can form rapidly under the right conditions. When you realize this was a real event, you can understand that the flood would have swept away plants and animals, creating huge amounts of biomass and burying them in waterborne sediments. This would mean many were buried en masse, which would have created huge fossil graveyards, of which we find many around the world. The Messel Pit in Germany, fossils of birds, amphibians, reptiles, insects, fish, and mammals are found in the same place. Not only that, are so well preserved, they show color, fur, and food in their stomachs. Fossils have been made in a laboratory in 24 hours, mimicking naturally occurring fossils to a T. This news was published in a secular article from the University of Bristol called "Creating Synthetic Fossils in the Lab Sheds Light on Fossilization Processes," which mentions that the experimental samples, or what they refer to as synthetic fossils, are compared to real fossils, supposedly thousands or millions of years old, and they were basically identical, not just visually, but also microscopically, as revealed using a scanning electron microscope. Scientists even found that just as in the naturally occurring fossils, the 24-hour fossils contain preserved microscopic pigment-bearing structures called melanosomes that reside within the organic films in feathers and lizards treated, while unstable protein and fatty tissues degrade and are lost. This experiment, accomplished using a hydraulic press, shows that under the right conditions, fossils can form very rapidly.
Cool, I think this video is very good. It's number 9 on the videos.
When I say this dude found the code, bro, he found the program. He found the matrix download, like, psh. Look, watch this right here, because this is going to tie into the box talk. Y'all remember the box talk. If you haven't seen it, go to my page right now and look at Box Talk. It's like 5 videos. Bruh. But this is going to tie into this. But watch this, because homie just found the code. Watch this.
One, the brain, not the body, needs to sleep. And then what is the brain doing in sleep? I just checked this out, man. It's doing something that if you put electrodes on the surface of our scalps and we all fall asleep, at night, during the day, the waves, the measurements are, sort of wavy. There's different ones depending on how you're engaging. At night, there are some sharp 90-minute patterns. That stuff is designed, that's built in. Really? Yeah. So that's not new. We don't have that when we're awake. No, if something startles us, the electricity will be different. If we meditate, the electricity will be different during waking. But at night, you're on something program. And that's not new, Louis. That's the stuff that I've known for 20 years, and sleep people have known for 40 years. What I'm trying to do is give you an explanation, a synthesis. That's not random. That's not a glitch. 7 billion brains on a 24-hour cycle. Sleep pressure, you got to lie down, you got to sleep. The brain is saying you got to sleep. And when it's sleeping, it's doing this. 90 crisp cycles of REM sleep. You've seen the charts. They look like Lego. They look like the top of a Tetris thing or a Lego thing. That is something fundamental that's happening, in my opinion. And so that's why I think we must sleep. But I think what's the most important part of sleep is the dreaming. My kid...
Yeah, that's right. You heard him right. He said it's a program, in a nutshell. But check this out right here. Have you ever walked past somebody, or you walked into their house and you just felt the energy, or you walked into the room and you felt some type of energy, some type of vibe that was just so off, and you was like, I don't know about that. But watch this right here, because I'm going to show you exactly why and how that's actually possible and what's really going on. Watch this. So quick little lesson. If you go into any room, I don't care where you at, majority of the rooms, all of the rooms are gonna have something called a 90-degree angle. Boom, everywhere. And most of the time it's like, what is it, 4 times 4, that's 8. It's 8 sides. Now, check this, not 8 sides, I didn't mean to say 8 points, okay? But it creates a 90-degree angle. But watch this right. So the human body produces 360,000 joules of heat per hour. So roughly that's about 100 watts. I ain't forgot about you over there in the back. We gonna get to why you feel a certain way when you walk into people's house. Watch this. But first we gotta look at this feng shui. You heard of feng shui? Feng shui is an ancient Chinese practice that involves arranging buildings, objects, in space to achieve harmony and balance. Check this out. Everything got that 90 degree. Your door frames, your mirrors, windows, furniture. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Anything that is structural based that wants to hold energy, secure, emit and receive. So for instance, you think about a bed. A bed can hold storage, energy, receive, emit, boom, all of that. But watch this, watch what the body does. Check this out. The reason why that you be feeling like the way you feeling when you walk into a room is because every human being has something called a aura field, right? Or energy field, but we're not gonna get into that right now, but that's part of the reason. But this is what I wanna show you right here. You wanted to know how your energy is getting stolen? Look, check this out. Check out what feng shui says. Sharp corners are considered bad energy, or they are also known as sha qi or feng shui, poison arrows, and are said to weaken energy and promote poor health and well-being. But check this out about the 90 degrees. Look. Feng shui theory suggests that qi, or life force energy, travels along walls. When qi from 2 walls meet at a 90-degree angle or less, it creates energetic turbulence that can affect the human energy field. Man, what do you, bruh? Remember, feng shui is the practice of, it's the ancient Chinese practice that involves arranging buildings, objects, and space to achieve harmony and balance. So what that means is that when you walk into a room, right, first of all, your energy field can be so great and so large that it starts to emit some things. But here's the thing: you get contained when you are in these 4 walls, right, with these 8 points, right, in these 90 degrees, because what it does is it starts ciphering your energy, bro. It starts ciphering your energy when you walk into that house or that room or whatever. Check this out. It says, and some say that homes absorb the energy of people who live or have lived there. Some say that negative energy can come from negative people, your environment, or your own thoughts. Signs of negative energy in your home include feeling uneasy, anxious, or uncomfortable, cluttered dust or disorganization, areas that feel neglected or chaotic, feeling emotional or tearful for no reason. All right, so check. Since I brought that up, there's some quick ways to alleviate those things right here. Is cleaning up and opening windows, adding plants, flowers, and color, rearranging your room, adding mirrors or larger windows to increase natural light. Natural light is a very big key. You want to make sure that you get some sunlight, some vitamin D up in the place to be, you know what I'm saying, to knock out those dark corners, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so check this. So when we was talking about the energy field in the 90 degrees, right, in the room, if you're in a particular room, right, and it says right here that people that are regularly exposed to this type of turbulence may feel fatigued. So if you sleeping in these beds, right, that has the 90 degrees angles on the beds, and you in a room, and you asleep for like 8 to 12 hours and still wake up tired and fatigued. Why is that? It's because something is ciphering your energy. It's ciphering your energy. And when we understand what homie said about the dream state, okay, so look, Nothing in nature has angles. It's always like a spiral, right? But the doctor that deciphered that code, he said no, it moves like this, 90-degree angles, right? 90-degree. See, the angles have to deal with building, but the spirals deal with perfection. Our energy has been getting ciphered by these archons, man. The ones that build, the ones that decided to cipher and house your energy, that host or parasite. Psychologically, sharp edges can also trigger a human response of danger, fear, pain, and detachment. In nature, sharp corners and straight lines are rare, and organic shapes and curves are more common. And we got this right here. Go ahead and pause and read, but it's basically talking about how much the human body emits energy. Even with activity, it can even increase 7 times that. Some say that homes have energy, both good and bad, and that you can feel it when you walk through the door, because that you are emitting and you are leaving this energy in these rooms. The corners of the rooms is shooting poison arrows, metaphorically speaking, at your aura field, and you are being drained and sucked dry energetically. That's why you gotta get outside, go touch some grass, wiggle your toes in the grass, look up at the fake sky and say, ah, you think that's air you breathing?
Number 10.
You have no idea. Do you know what book this represents? There is a book that shows you how to escape the Matrix. A book that shows you how to escape 9-to-5s. Why haven't you heard of this book? This Matrix we live in, it's not a computer simulation. It's going to make sure that most of you don't even finish this video. That way you'll always be paying bills and you'll always be working for the system. In order to understand the book, you must first understand what the Matrix is. People use this word Matrix all the time, but they never tell you what it truly is. It's not the government. It's not the movie Matrix. It's not the red pill community. It's not a computer simulation. There are archetypes in this world. Some call them spirits. Some call them characters. It really doesn't matter what you call them. They are everywhere. Movies, histories, songs, everyday life. To every spirit there is a shadow. For every great mother there is a devouring mother. So what's a matrix? A matrix is a medium or structure in which something develops. Matrix comes from the word mater, which means womb. A good matrix or womb sustains you so that you can be independent. A bad matrix takes from you so you can depend upon it. The matrix you live in is called civilization. See, you think civilization is synonymous with advancement, but it's not. The more advanced civilization grows, the less advanced humans physically are. And you can ask any leading anthropologist, you are being domesticated by civilization. They call it self-domestication. Think about it like this. What would happen to your dog if you were to leave it in your house and never come back? It depends on you, and it will surely pass away. It's that disconnected from its wild counterpart, just like you. You see, if something was to happen to civilization today, most of you would pass away within the next couple weeks, maybe even the next couple days. Unlike your ancestors and those who still live by the way of nature, there are fragile things, robust things, and anti-fragile things. Something that is fragile breaks easy in the presence of chaos. Something that is robust barely changes in the face of chaos. And something that is anti-fragile grows stronger and better in the face of chaos. Civilization makes you fragile. But this doesn't mean you have to give up comfortable living and technology. No, technology is not bad. Technology that's bad for the earth and humanity is bad. You can live a happy, comfortable life and still escape this civilization before it does what it always does and crumbles upon you. See, civilization has taught many of you that you need it, that you have to have it, that without it you cannot be a human, but there's nothing further from the truth. Ever since the advent of agriculture and civilization, famines have come into the picture, slavery, warfare. And I'm not talking about battles between groups of tribes. I'm talking about annihilation warfare, right? More diseases, more viruses, so on and so forth. Sexism, racism. But there is a way out of that. And it's this book called FAMS. Food, Forest, Foraging, Hunting, Anti-Fragile Modern Society. We're building these FAMs all across the world, and you can build one without me. You can build one on your own. The book, through 3 stories, teaches you exactly how to create one of these self-sustaining systems and why you should do it. The free link for the audiobook is at the top of my page. I love you all. Peace.
This is number 11. We are a human salt battery. Anyway, let's watch the video.
It was proved at the turn of the century that the human body is almost 80%, 90% water, and it's also got electrolytes in it, which we know to be salt, potassium, different minerals. That means we're a salt battery. No different than the car battery, different than something like that. And there's a patent actually called the Cali patent, which I'll hold up here for the camera to see. And this patent actually was developed in 1897, and not much has been done with it because at that time everyone was afraid of electricity. In this case, Dr. Clark developed a product using a 9-volt battery. And I'll just show you in the back here. There it is, 9-volt battery. And this particular unit, you just snap on your wrist with 2 wristbands.
We'll have a minute. Yeah.
You snap it on your wrist just to prove that I'm a circuit. I push the little green light, and the thing is on. And if I put my hands together, you can hear that I'm a circuit, and I'm a closed circuit at this point. Now, with
Why do we get a sound when you put your hands together?
Because I've closed the circuit. Now, when I take my hands apart, obviously the electricity is now being able to flow through the body. The electricity can't go through the digestive tract, so in the digestive tract, to kill the microorganisms, the specific parasites, she's found the effectiveness of the black walnut, what the native Indians used for cleansing many years ago. The black walnut, in its green hull form, kills many of the microorganisms, and in conjunction with another product called wormwood and cloves, typical cloves that you would get at the store, these 3 in combination have the ability to go in and kill all the pathogens. Now, what's most interesting is the Mexican people have the lowest incidence of cancer anywhere on the planet, and the reason is they kill the ascaris with this particular product here, we all know to be the jalapeno pepper. And those seeds of the jalapeno pepper, only 10 or 15 seeds twice a day have the ability to kill the ascaris, which she found to be a major cause of why the body loses oxygen at the tumor sites. And to kill that, you use the jalapeno seeds, and then you back that up with a little ozonated olive oil.
How are you so certain that each time you have...
We use scanning techniques and we do blood tests. You can tell if a tumor has shrunk or not, but I realized this kind of criticism would come along, and that's why I saved 50 sets of x-rays before and after and all the blood tests, and that's what I published in the last book.
Number 12.
So if you don't know, you're about to find out. The Jordan River dried up. Yep. So if you don't know, you're about to find out. The Jordan River dried up. Yep. Gone. Non-existent. But what's crazy is, this is crazy. This is like one of them AI pictures too. Fact. Look at this guy in this shit. He looked like, look what I just found. I wouldn't be looking like that at all. That looked like a big ass skull. He announced, "One stronger than I am is coming after me. I am not even worthy to bend over and loosen the strap of his sandals. I baptize you with the water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit." Jesus is baptized and attempted. About that time, Jesus came from Nazareth to Galilee, and John baptized him in the Jordan River. That's why the Jordan River is symbolic. But let me just say, all this shit is crazy. I ain't never seen no shit like this, and I'm guaranteeing you there's gonna be more shit to be found. I promise you that, and I won't be the one that's gonna find it.
I like what this person says in the video about moving trees. Anyway, it's number 13.
Been seeing these videos of trees moving. Now this looks really weird. It was caught on drone footage, as you can see. It seems like the trees are moving, or at least one of them trees is moving wildly, or communicating with the other trees. Now, they do say that trees do move like 2 to 3 centimeters every couple of years, but this is wild. You can actually see the tree moving as if it's ice skating. You'll see it moving all the way to the left like it just did, all the way to the left. Now this is weird. Here you go, more videos on trees moving. Like, look at this. This is so crazy looking. The way that they're moving. They say in Central and North America that this does happen often. That trees usually ground their roots real deep into the location that they really want to move to, because they might be in the shaded area or they're trying to move towards the sun. This right here was caught by a YouTuber in the West Woods of England, and it seemed to be showing the ground breathing of some sort, or the roots under there trying to relocate themselves as if the trees are about to move. Almost kind of looks scary, like an earthquake. Never have I ever seen anything like this. All this tree movement starting to scare me. Some people say that they could be haunted by souls or spirits. But as you can see, this tree right here was caught on cell phone footage of somebody at a gas station. And this tree seemed to be in distress. It's moving real dramatically. Almost as if somebody's shaking it and moving it mechanically, but it's moving so far, almost like it's walking. I don't know, that really looks so scary. Look how far it went. That's wild. This is somebody that was out camping or hiking with his friends, and out of nowhere he sees this humongous tree moving. I would have been so scared if I'd have seen this. Like, how can it be moving, or who is moving this? This is so wild. That just tells you we have not noticed or know everything that's in nature already. We're so busy looking at Mars and everything else, we haven't discovered Earth all the way. 95% of the water we haven't even discovered. 95% of the ocean on Earth. But we so busy worrying about other planets. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think.
Number 14.
Military liaison between the Pentagon and NASA. I'm here as a anonymous whistleblower to tell everyone that what happened on April the 8th was not an eclipse. What happened on April the 8th was called Project Pegasus. It's been in the planning for years. What occurred, not an eclipse, since the moon was beside the sun during it and not crossing it, and also it's for both in Pisces. The whole thing is ridiculous, and that's how much credit the government gives all of you, because they'll do something that blatantly wrong, I mean inaccurate, just impossible, and yet they know that Americans they'll be called conspiracy theorists if they even bring it up. So they do it, and they don't even care. Okay, so what did they do if there wasn't an eclipse? The biggest thing you have to realize is the coincidence, which was no coincidence, of CERN being turned on that day.
It is near impossible to explain or understand for most of us, but monumental nonetheless.
CERN was turned back on that day, and immediately after it was turned on, this is what appeared in the sky above CERN in Switzerland on the 8th. A literal portal was created above CERN, and this was actually predicted, which is one reason why it was filmed by many people who were in the know. But ever since they discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, the God particle, that's when all of this contact began to occur.
Using a particle accelerator, believe they have found the subatomic particle known as the Higgs boson, otherwise known as the God particle. Here you have it.
Because this whole thing of Project Pegasus was about CERN. Through its experiments with the God particle and particle acceleration in general, they achieved quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement is a phenomenon when, by working at the quantum level and getting to the true incredible energy of particles, once they combine or collide, there was something that occurred where the quantum entanglement manifested in a being emerging from another dimension, another alien being that emerged. Through that, this was a couple years ago, through that introduction, through that communication, 3 governments got involved in a negotiation that occurred in a very bizarre way, because it didn't actually happen in person. I'm not going to waste time explaining how the negotiations happened, but between Russia, China, and America, they dealt with this species, and this species offered a deal. And the deal was that we would be given something if they were allowed to come here to Earth and basically set up a secret base. What did we get, and what's their secret base about? Okay, I'll just quickly tell you. What we got was AI. Think about it. Didn't AI emerge out of nowhere 2023? And didn't it emerge not just out of nowhere, in an incredibly mature, sophisticated level of complexity that kind of makes sense for a new technology? And even now, 1 year into it, a year and a half into it, whatever we're at, it's getting scary what it can do. I mean, it's indistinguishable from reality in some cases. Okay, so that's where we're at 2 years into AI, and that's because AI, like a lot of our technology, like the microchip and other things that we got from Roswell and the Greece, this is another technology from another higher level species. And let me just add this, for those who think that AI is about making funny pictures or interesting videos and stuff, sure, it can do that, and that is the consumer-facing end of this technology. But if you knew the intent of AI in terms of how it will impact your everyday life very soon, you might take a gun to your head and blow your brains out. It is that radical of a shift. What the government intends to do with this shiny toy called AI. That's what we got. In return, they got basically the southern half of Antarctica, below the South Pole. And that is what, well, let me, first things first, what the hell happened if not an actual eclipse? Well, a couple things. Number one, they required, in order to do this, and when I say do this, the event to happen on the 8th was the alien species coming through to our dimension. In order to come through, they required a few things. Number one, they required loosh. What is loosh? Loosh is the energy expended and exhibited by human beings when they are collectively excited and focused on something, like at a rock concert or during church or something like that.
Oh, it's emotional. I can't explain why, but it is. We had tears, we had screams, we had fireworks.
So by having so much of the planet looking up at a certain time of day and everybody giving their attention and their emotions to it, which, by the way, if you watch some videos, you had newscasters crying.
It just took my breath away, the whole thing.
That was a bit odd that they were crying, and the reason they were crying was because it was an incredibly emotional thing, because the aliens made it so. The aliens made it so because the energy created or received from the loosh, and again, I've defined what loosh is.
What's that all about?
That loosh energy, coupled with the energy of the sun, allowed them at the time of the quote-unquote eclipse, and for their mothership, which is what that circle was, it wasn't the moon. Their mothership came out of nowhere, entered into the area of the sun, stopped. Did you notice how it stopped for an inordinate amount of time in the center, when it should have been continuing at the very slow crawl rate that the moon typically does? Well, it didn't. It stayed there for a bit of time. And that's insane, okay? That's another blatant giveaway. And again, the government thinks that no one's going to notice, or if they notice, they'll be branded a conspiracy theorist, and they don't care. So they just allowed it to happen. This ship basically connected with the sun at that moment and got an incredible amount of physical energy required for them to enter through the dimension. Coming in from another dimension takes an incredible amount of energy. The sun and our Lush did that. At that point, the ship went around the back of the sun. Did you notice that we didn't see anything depart? It just sort of disappeared into the sun. Well, it kind of did. It went around to the back, and it all actually docked there where it is at this moment that I speak. What happened next? Well, from that energy, from that Lush, from that focus, from that also that actual hydrogen-based nuclear energy it got from the sun, it was able to send a massive amount of ships and individuals of their race to the Earth into an area just north of the Antarctic base that they're going to take over. The waves, if you look at the waves stuff, the things that happen on the wave map during that time, okay?
April 9th, 2024, the day after the solar eclipse, something terrifying lurked off the coast of Antarctica. Radar systems detected a monstrous wave anomaly, an area larger than Texas with 80-foot waves. The anomaly moved up towards South Africa. At the same time, Cape Town witnessed a horrifying sight. The ocean receded dramatically, as if dragged away by some unseen force. Beaches were left exposed, waves vanished. What really happened? A glitch in the system? A creature? Or something yet to be seen?
And they had the audacity to tell the public it was a glitch. It wasn't a glitch because there is tons of video and evidence of people in South Africa running from, mini tsunami level waves that were created by these ships becoming USOs, going underwater. And from doing that and establishing themselves there, they were able to then make their move to the southern part of Antarctica. They also took animals.
We're going to talk to Jason about some of the changes that we heard. Birds making more noises.
And it's fun to see all the animals act up.
Anything you noticed with the animals as we were sitting back there just a minute ago?
They get very active now. The fish were jumping out of the water.
Well, quite a few people have watched that video, but I don't quite know what to make of that one myself. I don't know, but we think they're pretty satanic, so really, are there other spaceships here, or is it just them playing around with HAARP and CERN and all the things they've got to do to us? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the videos today. Some of them I found very interesting indeedy. Anyway, thanks for watching.